Welcome back, Nail Queens. In today's video, I'm going to be unboxing and showing you guys and doing a mani with the brand new Soul Dips Valentine's Day collection. This gorgeous collection releases this Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, so if you want to grab some of these colors for Valentine's Day, which there are so many beautiful options, definitely set your alarms because some colors do tend to sell out. But before I get started on my manicure, I'm going to show you the beautiful colors that are launching. So first up, you have the All My Love Duo. These two colors are the February exclusive shades. You can see one is a color changer. Queen of Hearts is another gorgeous color changer, and you can see it has gorgeous red hearts in it. I think this one's going to be a very popular shade. This one is called A Whole Lotta Love. I absolutely love this one. I love the milky shimmer background to it and the pink and red and everything all together. I also realized I'm probably going to be here all day if I go through all of the colors before I get to my manicure, so I'm just going to quickly cap through them and show you guys the photos, and I'll have the website linked below so you guys can browse everything and shop.
It's yours, my love, just rest assured. I'm yours, tell me what you running for, 'cause you don't have to try so hard. Baby, come let down your guard. You think I care about money when I just helped you get ready for your interview? You think I like your body when I just got close that I knew it looked good on you.
Alright, so time for the manicure. The two colors I'm using here today are Synchronized Hearts and Cupid's Arrow. They're both red glitters. So Cupid's Arrow is a red holographic glitter, and that's going to be the first one that I'm dipping into. Synchronized Hearts has red in it, which makes it pair very well with Cupid's Arrow. However, it also has pink in it. So I'm very excited for you guys to see those in action up close and personal. I tried taking as many photos as possible, but I feel like it doesn't capture its true beauty like it is in person. So with Cupid's Arrow, you can definitely see how holographic it is when you see me right there, the flashness, like there's just rainbow colors sparkling back at you. So that's the kind of glitter that Cupid's Arrow is. So what I actually did is I used air dry glue. I glued on full coverage tips. These are the Soul Dips short or small almond tips, and I'm dipping directly over those. I'm also using her cuticle cleanup tool. I use that tool to run it around my cuticle line so that I make sure that no dip powder gets stuck to my skin. I don't know if you've ever done it before where you accidentally get dip base and dip powder stuck on your skin, and later on in the manicure when you're filing and buffing, it is a pain to try to fix that and remove the dip powder from your skin. So I like to do it before the dip powder actually fully dries. Moving on into the chunky glitter. This one's called Synchronized Hearts, and you guys are going to see how beautiful it is. So what I'm going to do for the first layer is I'm going to sprinkle it on, like pour it over. And what this does is it gets most of the smaller pieces on there and just a select few of the larger pieces. But the goal is to get as many smaller pieces on my nail as possible. I'm cleaning up around the cuticle as always, and I'm going to repeat that same process on my ring finger because I'm putting Synchronized Hearts on this finger as well.
Name a better duo. So why do we do this dance? Are we moving too slow? 'Cause you need reassurance. Don't conflate issues. Why you always jump to.
So I'm just patting down any glitter that may be sticking up. And when it's all dry and I'm going in for my second layer, this time I'm actually going to lay my finger flat onto the jar of dip powder. And what this is going to do is pick up most of the chunky pieces. I like to do it this way because I get the smaller amount of glitters on the bottom layer, and the top layer gets all of the beautiful hearts and the chunky pieces. But this ensures that my nail isn't too chunky and very difficult to encapsulate. So that's why I like to do my layers this way instead of always dipping into the jar. I like to pour over on the first layer and then dip into the jar on the second layer. And when working with chunky glitters, at times you may have to move things around because they are sticking up on that layer. So sometimes I'll use a little bit of base bond to hold something down, or I'll use like a tool like this cuticle precision tool to move glitter pieces around. So your cuticle precision tool can be so much more useful than just for cleaning up around your cuticles. It's great for moving around glitters and getting them off the sidewalls, off your skin, helping them lay flat and moving them into a place where you want them to lay. I'm pouring the glitter back into the jar because I did use the cupcake liner to catch everything when I poured it over onto my nail. So that's a great way to save your glitters instead of it getting all over the place. So Cupid's arrow, I'm doing a third coat. I actually skipped the second coat filming it. I actually did a second coat, but you didn't see me film it. So just so you know, there are 3 coats of Cupid's arrow on my nails. And that's the amount of coverage I was comfortable with it being completely full coverage and looking absolutely beautiful, of course. So now that I have all those layers of glitter on my nails, it's time to encapsulate in clear dip powder. So I'm just going to gently dust everything off, and I'm using a soft dusting brush right here just to make sure that, you know, things are not wet still, because if you've ever used a stiff brush a little too soon, you mess everything up and you regret ever doing that. So I'm just making sure everything is nice and dry before I go in with a stiffer dusting brush. And that's just really the only reason I'm using the softer brush. So everything's looking good. Time to take the stiff dusting brush to my nails and dust it off. The reason why you definitely want to use a stiff dusting brush is because if you have an excess of powder still left on your nails and your dip base brush comes in contact with your nails, over time you contaminate and clump up that brush and it becomes unuseful. So, or not unuseful, unusable. And you don't want that. So I try to take very good care of my liquids. Sometimes I'm not perfect, you know, sometimes I'm like, you know what, whatever. But as long as you're not being reckless with them every single time you do a dip mani, then you can ensure that you'll have a longer lasting shelf life on your liquids. So I'm just dipping all of the nails in clear dip powder. The chunkier glitter is a little more tedious to encapsulate, but it's absolutely crucial that you do this step. I used to not encapsulate my chunky glitters, and I noticed a huge difference about 2 years ago when I started to. I was like, oh, let me give this a try. It made a huge difference. My goodness, those glitters look so beautiful when you encapsulate them. It looks like they're floating on water. All right, so everything is done being encapsulated and all that stuff, so I have to dust everything off. I'm using my stiff dusting brush and I'm really going ham in there because I don't want anything to look bubbly. I haven't really experienced my clear looking bubbly after I activate it, but you know, you never know. So I just give it an extra good scrub, and now I get to apply activator to all of it and harden the dip powder so I can file, shape, and buff. So for my filing, shaping, and buffing, I use a hand file and a hand buffer. Sometimes I do use my e-file, but for today's manicure, that won't be necessary. Everything laid pretty flat, and there's not going to be a lot of work that needs to be done. So the first thing I do is I take my hand file and I file underneath the nail, like the nail tip, and make sure that nothing is hanging about and just straggling under there. There's no like ragged edges. And then I take my buffing block and I start using the rougher side of the buffing block to really smooth out everything, all of the sidewalls, the edges. If the cuticle area needs a little extra work, I might take my hand file and give it a couple like passes, but I try to stick to using only my buffing block for removing bulk and like really smoothing everything out very nicely.
Take the moment, you got it. It's yours, it's yours, it's yours.
So the chunky glitter does require a little bit more work than the finer glitter does because it doesn't lay as flat as the finer glitter. So I do spend more time filing and buffing my chunky glitters than I do on solids and shimmers and fine glitters. When I'm satisfied with how the filing looks, I take rubbing alcohol and a lint-free wipe and I wipe everything down just to remove any excess dust that might be on my nails so I can look at the shape and make sure that everything looks truly good. If I'm satisfied with it like 100%, then I'll take my activator again and add another layer of activator to all of my nails. This second layer of activator is necessary for my dip liquids because you need this in order for the dip top coat to properly cure and harden. So about a minute has passed and I take my lint-free wipe that I used earlier and I just gently wipe the nails down to remove any excess activator that may be on the nail. And now it's time to apply my dip top coat. So I apply my top coat in 2 to 3 strokes. For my larger nails, it's definitely like 3 strokes. And then I wait about 15 seconds and then I go in and apply my second coat of activator. So it doesn't take long to go in with your second layer. You don't really have to time it very long. When you notice it's not as shiny anymore, that's when the second coat should be applied. So I applied my second coat. I'm going to apply it to all of my nails, and then when I'm done, everything will be nice and glossy.
With any mistake, they quick to run, and so you run, jump the gun, but know that you got it. Even at your lowest, you got it. You know that you got it. Baby, take the moment, you got it. It's yours, it's yours, it's yours.
Alright, so that is all for today's dip powder application using the brand new Soul Dips colors for Valentine's Day. I'll have everything linked down in the description box below, as well as a discount code that you can use to save a couple bucks. And again, these colors are going to release on Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. That is 11 a.m. Central Time and 9 a.m. Pacific Time. And then I know there's like a world calculator thing you can Google on Google if you need to convert the time zone to whichever time zone that you are in. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!
Just helped you get ready for your interview. You think I like your body when I just cop close that I knew it looked good on you. Who do you think you are? Baby, you're an asset. 'Cause if I'm rocking with you